Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this regular workshop of the Temple City Council. It is Thursday, December 5th at about 7 minutes after 2. And the first item is to receive any public comments.
No, sir.
Okay, there being none. Next item is to discuss any regular meeting agenda items tonight. Council or staff, anything on the regular or consent agenda?
Mayor Brian does have a presentation on the zoning item, if you guys would like to go over that.
Okay. Okay, anything? I don't think so. Nothing for this?
1 second. Natalie, is there, do you want to say anything at this point or wait? On the item on the agenda?
Would you like me to,
I don't know, I just,
are you referring to the roof replacement?
yes.
Okay, yes, we were just talking about that.
Yeah,
Well, I
I believe
don't
it's item C on the agenda is the roof replacement at the library. There were some questions about, the amount of money and where that's coming from. We filed with insurance for that roof replacement, so we're just looking to replace the roof, not add anything, change anything. But the finance and facilities department is working with RTM Health Insurance, on getting the money for that replacement.
And we have it.
I believe so. I believe it's in the process, but we had an initial approval, but we've had to go back for some negotiating on a
Sure.
few
I
items,
don't know on that.
but
Okay.
that's my understanding, yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Is that the
absolutely.
one that they weren't gonna give us enough on?
There's like a 2.3%.
That one was one of the challenging ones too. A little bit like they have all. Yeah, you can hold
We're good.
I just have had some calls saying we're gonna do things, why are we doing this amount of money for the roof? So I just asked Natalie.
It's 100% reimbursed through insurance.
Right.
It was damaged during the tornado.
Oh, no, I know that.
Or
so-
I'm actually not sure if it was the tornado or the.
I just didn't know that we had
hailstorm.
filed, I
Yeah.
could assume, but anyway.
And
Thank
also,
you.
I did have a conversation with our adjuster about another roof claim yesterday. And as we were wrapping up, she said, I know I owe y'all some payments and to finish processing some. I know that they're on the way, I promise. So I think she's aware that they're kind of falling behind and has promised me that she will go.
Thanks.
Good. All right.
All right, good afternoon. One zoning case on the agenda today. And this one is very much at the micro level. It is just simply a building that has been constructed, an accessory structure at 1104, actually 1102 and 1104 South 11th for a duplex. They were rebuilding a shed that I guess they wanted to be able to convert into an accessory dwelling unit. And so here we are. That would require a rezoning with the plan development. And so here's the location. It's at the hard corner of West Avenue K and 11th Street. And so this is 2F zoned property, but also really a 2F zone neighborhood. And there are permits for the renovation of the duplex, which has been completed. And, but also a shed, reconstructing a shed in the same location was part of the scope of the original permit. But if this is approved, they would still have to submit a separate permit to make it a dwelling unit. So, you know, the shed location is fine. There's an existing pad site there, or concrete pad site. It is less than the 3 feet required by our current setback requirements. However, they've actually built a firewall that has not been inspected yet. And Landy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, but
I am, but
Okay.
it would be your building.
okay, yeah. And so one way or another, you know, that would have to meet building code requirements regardless of if it remains just as an accessory structure or an accessory dwelling unit. And so on the left, you can see the survey And what I find interesting is that you compare that to what is proposed on the right, that they actually don't have any current on-site parking for this duplex. You know, the building is over 100 years old. It's been a duplex for perhaps as long as that as well. And so as part of it, they would provide the 6 parking spaces as needed. They would comply with the comprehensive plan, also the Midtown neighborhood plan, which encourages accessory dwelling units in, you know, in the appropriate locations. This is a large lot, accessory dwelling unit be to the rear. They have that side access from K as well. So it's just a matter of, you know, bringing that building into our codes, but also improving some of the compliance related to parking and other items. And that's just a zoomed in version that does not really help much because you can't really see those labels. But there's a kitchen, bedroom, as well as a bathroom, and it's 524 square feet. So if approved, then that would have to get permitted as well. So now to the photos, you can see top left-hand corner what it used to look like. They renovated the building and certainly have improved the duplex. Bottom right-hand corner, you can see the accessory structure that was built on the same location as a previous accessory structure. It's just, hey, now they need to get a permit to convert it. If these rezoning is approved, convert it to a dwelling. So that's it. One other detail that I didn't want to surprise you on, but when I show the responses from neighbors, neighbor to the rear owns 4 properties and so received 4 notices and all were in disagreement. Well, that was at a time where we were recommending a privacy fence and there were concerns by that neighbor about access to a unit that they have at the end of Avenue K, how that might affect them. Either way, the privacy fence is no longer part of it. They've got they've got a chain link fence there. You know, that neighbor preferred that. The applicant prefers that. There's really no other need for screening. And so that was a condition that was removed and presumably that neighbor, the concerns have been addressed because that neighbor also spoke at P&Z and just wanted to ensure that there would be no privacy fence that might impede or, you know, access in some way. So.
And where did you say the parking is gonna be?
So parking.
My country.
Yeah, so 2 ribbon parking spaces along 11th Street, top right-hand corner. And that's really for the neighborhood plan that encourages, you know, ribbon drives where possible. So this is a good solution to that for one of the units. Then one of the other unit of the existing duplex would be 2 ribbon drive parking spaces just behind it. And then the parking for the actual ADU would be down here in the corner. So right here.
Off the Stub-Out Street.
Yes, that's right. So accessed by Avenue K. And so, yeah, it's really just a dead end.
You can see just in this view, the people across the street, similar houses.
Yeah, they have a
on
little-
the grass.
They have a little problem.
Yeah, there are a lot in old neighborhood, a lot of
6 cars in the.
non-conformities with our current code. Any other question? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Next item is to discuss the current status of the mall. Kathy?
I didn't end up doing a presentation. I don't know if you want to start, you want me to.
Really, I just wanted to have the opportunity to get us all on the same page. And I guess I was very interested in it. And actually, she's the one who requested the topic just so we can all understand the status of the mall. We talked about it at the staff level a couple of days ago. I think there have been some very recent changes as well. So thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to give first just an update that we received word today that the electricity has been restored to the mall. It is my understanding that, a tenant or group of tenants have paid for that to happen, so I don't think that it's coming from the owner of the mall. I think there, and Chief may know better, but I think there's 3 or 4 different transformers, and I think, you know, between all of the different tenants, they, kind of came to to the point where, as of today, all of them have been restored for power. I spoke with a representative at Encore a few days ago, and the chief also shared this information with me. So I think, you know, confirmed from a couple of different scenarios that some of the tenants are seeking to establish separate electric service systems. So right now, with maybe the exception of Floor and Decor, I think that even all of the other anchor tenants, they don't have kind of standalone power. So even when they turn on their electricity, for example, Extreme Jump, if their electricity is on, then several of the other nearby tenants are also on. Same with Dillard's, same with the furniture store. So a few of them are at least making exploratory efforts on how they could separate out and have their own standalone electric system. And just making, Chief and I just chatted briefly, probably worth an actual written letter just to make sure everyone is clear from the tenant standpoint and the owners in terms of Dillard's and Extreme Jump, what they would need to make sure they have in place to be able to legally operate separate from if the interior of the mall were to, again, be disconnected from electricity or water or, you know, whatever would happen, that they would be able to continue to operate. As council, I think, is aware, our fire marshal's team has tried to do as much as they can to work with the tenants while still maintaining safety of both the staff and visitors to the mall. So they have offered some temporary solutions, for example, fire watch, because the fire alarm system has not been functional without the electricity. They have provided some opportunities for some temporary solutions, but those are just that, temporary. They're not intended to be long-term sustained operations. So we just want to make sure that we're very clear with the tenants that, you know, if they are trying to kind of separate themselves out, the last thing we want them to do is spend, you know, however much money to invest in an electric system and then realize that they're still connected to the fire alarm system for the mall, or they still need a firewall separation or something like that. So we're working to make sure that we communicate that very clearly as best as we can to everyone, what they would need to do so that there's no surprises.
Is that a location by location, like maybe each of them are going to have different needs based upon whether or not how they are connected, et cetera. So is the city going through and telling that Bed Bath and Beyond, if they're even in there, I don't know if they're in there or not, but Bed Bath and Beyond, these are the requirements for you specifically, or is it a list of saying these requirements have to be met and the city doesn't know, or the city's not taking the time to go through based on the plans and figure out exactly what each store needs?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. We're not in a position, you know, we are not certified design professionals, so we're not in a position to tell each store specifically what they would have to do. We're just wanting to make sure that they have kind of pointed in the right direction for what to look for, what to think about, what to ask their design professional.
Not a
in terms of-
customized letter, a general letter.
Right.
That's where I was trying to get.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
The mall is also behind on their water again. They were actually scheduled for disconnection. I think, Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had some general changeover in the billing system. So all of it wasn't just unique to the mall, but they were in this group that, just to kind of make sure over an abundance of caution that anyone who was switched over, we gave extra time to make sure that, you know, any, automated payments that they had set up. So they had, received some grace because of that situation, but at this point, they are scheduled for disconnect next week, if they do not pay their water bill. I
And it
believe,
has to be in full.
yes.
We don't accept partial, right?
But not anymore. And that was, I believe, it was around $20,000, and that was before, so that's not an exact number, but just to kind of give you an order of magnitude. So, we also, have communicated that, we want to make sure everybody knows. So again, there's no surprises there. So, the mall ownership, you know, continues to not meet their obligations related to just, you know, month-to-month utility payments. You know, if you just Google, Cohen, Real Investment Group, you will see examples of malls that they own all over the country that have similar problems. This is not unique to Temple. And this is really, I think, you know, fundamentally their business model. I don't recall which state, it was in a different state, and I don't recall off the top of my head, but one mall that they own was disconnected from electricity 9 months ago, and it remains disconnected. And again, I think this mall would also remain disconnected, but for the tenants coming forward to look for some, or the standalone owners, the Dillard's and Extreme Jump, looking for solutions. So, you know, I don't think that this is something that you know, it's just a blip, you know, this is just kind of apparently what they, how they manage the malls that they own.
Trash too.
You have probably received questions. I know I have about, you know, well, why can't the city, you know, insert, you know, whatever the question is, why can't, you know, one question that I've gotten a few times, over the last few months, but certainly this week, as people have been aware that the mall tenants are struggling with the lack of electricity, is why can't the city buy them all? And so I just wanted to remind and or inform, depending on you know, what level of information you're coming to the table, that the mall, you know, if you were to take on a project like the mall, where you were going to buy it, you know, so pay a purchase price, really, honestly, even if somebody gave it to you for free, the purchase price and other legal costs associated with liens, entitlements, other things that are encumbrances, other things that would have to be dealt with at the mall, and then just simply deferred maintenance, even if you weren't going to do any redevelopment. And then if you were going to seek to do some significant redevelopment, you're talking about a price tag of somewhere between $50 and $100 million, right? To actually be able to invest in the type of redevelopment and even just maintenance that the mall needs to really bring it up to an appropriate standard. And just keeping in mind that the purchase of a mall, the purchase of a private, you know, sector business is really not in a city's wheelhouse. So the Texas legislature doesn't really allow cities to use traditional debt forms that we use for other projects. So if you think about when we invest money in roads, in fire stations, and utility systems, we're using certificate of obligation bonds in many cases. And that is not a purchase of a mall for kind of economic development or redevelopment purposes. It's not an allowed use of that type of funding. So, you know, if we were to try to go out and seek a way for the city to take on that project, that money would have to come from cash, or, you know, it wouldn't be kind of like, oh, well, let's not do this road project, let's do the mall instead. It's not, you can't use the same type of funding for that project. So while it's not impossible for the city to do that, it would be very, very, very challenging. And there is not a really kind of a straight path forward. And it's really a more traditional role that the city would take in fostering a solution here would be in working with the private sector in a public-private partnership where we took a role of incentivizing the redevelopment of the mall and not a direct role in purchasing the mall ourselves. This is just not what cities, we're not mall management. That's not what we exist to do. But what we do exist to do, and y'all have done it in many other cases, is when Kevin would always take it, right? He never says no. But what is a fairly traditional role for a city and what we do often is in incentivizing economic development or redevelopment. So if we did have, a partner, a private sector partner come to the table, looking to invest in the mall and its redevelopment, then I think that would be a very appropriate place for us to be involved in terms of talking about incentives, whether that's infrastructure investment, whether it's economic development agreement, maybe it's a tax abatement for property tax or sales tax or some combination of the two. Those are the types of things that are really where we can get involved. But that requires a private sector owner who is wanting to come to the table and invest in the redevelopment. The current owner, I don't believe that is not what they do, right? They buy malls that are already troubled, and they are seeking to secure the last bit of yield out of them. They are not in the business of redeveloping. So I think until the point that we see, my opinion is until the point that we see an investment group or some other interested private sector partner coming to the table, willing to take on that project, then I think we can partner with that group. But in terms of the city being able to just step in right now and take it on as a project and take it from where that is now to a redeveloped state or even just a maintained state, that's just really not something that we have the legal capacity in terms of financing structure to be able to do. So again, I wanted to speak to that because I know I've gotten a few questions and I'm sure some of you have had. Yes, I'm sure that is a common, and I mean, I get it. I think we all do. We would love to be able to help in a meaningful way, both because I think it's the location is an incredibly important location for our community. Being along some of our major roadways, some of our most bustling commercial district, our major employer is just across the street. And I know certainly you all, as well as staff, hearts go out to and feel really, really bad for the small businesses and the tenants that are in the mall and just struggling because of the decisions of the owner to not invest or not to pay the basic utility bills. So while I wish there was, something that we could just come in and do kind of on our own accord, I don't know that that's really a realistic option for us. But again, what I do think is possible, and I hope to see happen, and we've had some initial. We've had some recent interest, so perhaps there's something that that we would be able to talk about in the future. Again, if a private sector investment interest were to come to the table, then I think that a partnership opportunity through an incentive package could be something that we could put together and bring forward for consideration that really could make a meaningful difference. But again, that takes a partner who's willing to invest. And right now we don't have that. I think that, as much as staff is trying to do as much as we can to help, again, communicate with the business owners there, to give as much, do everything we can And certainly if you all have something that you feel like we're not doing or that we could, an idea or something that we need to think about, we would obviously be very open to that. But I do hope that we will see, someone interested in coming forward and potentially making that investment. There are, and I've talked to some of you just on one-on-one this week, you know, the trouble I think with malls is that all over the country, just the changing landscape of retail, the shrinkage of retail from big box is just really not something that is happening in really markets of our size and even much larger. I mean, and until you get into very, very large markets, you're just not seeing significant kind of traditional big box retail investment because people are shopping online more. I mean, that's a big reason. You see more experiential retail, but malls are just struggling across the country. So you don't have this large plethora of private sector interest in coming in and investing in the mall as it is. And so where I think there is some potential opportunity and more interest is in an opportunity to revision how, you know, take that land and revision how it's utilized and how it could be developed out, redevelop the mall site, you know, so it's not just kind of what it is right now, but looking at dreaming about something different. The problem there is that the more barriers that you have to the redevelopment, so the higher, you know, the more long-term leases you have, the more carved up the land becomes, the more liens and other legal encumbrances that are on the property, that just piles up on the side of it's harder for, it's more time consuming and more expensive to redevelop. So it drops the pool of people who are able and interested in doing that redevelopment. So you kind of got to get to the perfect match of the city bringing to the table what we can from the public sector side, which again is traditionally in the form of incentives, maybe some infrastructure investment, but having the private sector wanting to come and being willing to work through some of those redevelopment challenges. So it is not a easy project. It's not it's not super straightforward. There's no easy answer. There's no silver bullet, I don't think. But at least from the staff team's perspective and what I know from y'all, just from individual conversations, is I think the city is very interested in helping to revitalize and redevelop, you know, where it's appropriate, but kind of just the swooping in and buying and kind of the savior that I don't think we can be.
Have you seen with that company any examples of an end result when that he's milked it dry and something's happened?
He
Sold it or-
will sell it. He will sell. Like, you know, I think they are, it's a little hard for me to wrap my mind around a business model like that.
Yeah, me
But,
too.
you know, I think you say you buy for $5-10 million, an asset that's already struggling. You get some quick money through maybe some refinancing, maybe get some cash infusions from a couple of long-term leases of, you know, new tenants that they've been able to attract in there. Another big thing is selling off parcels of it. And then when all of it is milked out, then that's when the point that we're here now is they've gotten the money out of it, so they're not going to put any more in, or at least that has been their pattern in other locations.
And he's gotten to the end and sold in other locations.
And he's also, I mean, and you know, the other thing is he's buying more malls, you know, so it's a little frustrating to know that it's not a matter of the fact that, you know, there's money to buy another mall, but there's not money to pay for the electric bill in the mall that you
Some
have.
other communities gonna have to deal with what we're dealing with in the future.
Yes.
It reminds me sort of a salvage yard. I have a client that they they buy rental cars, come in, they strip everything from them that can be sold. And in 30 days, they're on another truck heading somewhere to be crushed. You know, I think our mall's kind of at the time where it's about to hop on a truck. So that's unfortunate. I assume that they are paying the ad valorem tax, right? Property tax. Otherwise, they'd be foreclosed on.
They are here so far, although, you know, when you Google them, that is also something that they have historically, literally waited until, you know, the hour before the sheriff's sale, to go in and pay the $350,000 tax bill. And of course, they own malls across, you know, the United States. So different states have very different structures and
Yeah.
very different ways, you know, like, for example, I know one place that they have a mall, and again, I don't remember what state it's in, but they paid it out of tax foreclosure, and then their process kind of starts over, and it takes another 5 years for it to get back to the point where it goes back to tax foreclosure, just because of that state laws. And they know that, you know, so they wait until the last minute, they pay the tax bill, and then they know that buys them another 5 years, and they're not gonna pay any more for that 5 years until they get back to the point, and it's just rinse and repeat. It is just what they do.
Brent, how did the electric bill get paid? I couldn't hear what you said.
Not them, not the mall owner, but, there's different, transformers. I think, I don't know if there's 3 or 4, do you know? 3 that serve the mall, so different people paid the bill for, so no one person.
So the people within the mall.
Yes, like, for example, the furniture store paid
Right,
one of
paid
them,
some. I get that.
Extreme Junk paid one of them.
And then are
And
those
I don't know
people
exactly who.
theoretically attach or deleting that in their minds from rent they're gonna pay to the,
I don't know what,
What-
you know, and they, you know, and I think, you know, the best we can do is encourage them to, and if I were them, I would definitely talk to my own legal counsel, you know, to explore what options they have related to, based on their own
right,
lease agreement, if they have a lease agreement. Again, some Dillards and Extreme Jump have different arrangement,
sure.
but they, you know, they really need to, there are options they have, but that's not something,
No, it's
That-
not our
that-
deal. We
right,
can't
exactly,
deal
yes.
with that.
and so I don't know, I don't know specifically what any one of them actions that, you know, they have or are planning on
And they
taking.
may be different per
Yes.
per location.
Is the Western Restore still running my generator?
No. It's all the
All
entire
the
mall.
electricity's back on
Oh, it's
as
all
of today.
But have they been until today?
They were until I believe yesterday morning.
I think they might be on the same transformer as the Mega Furniture, which was turned on late Tuesday, maybe, or was it yesterday? I've lost track of time, but
I couldn't tell you specifically either.
No, I went there a week and a half ago for Thanksgiving, and they were on. Well, that Firewatch, can they share a Firewatch, or does each place have to have one, or
The mall is required to do the fire watch for the entire facility.
so they can have one person watching it all?
So one or more is what we like to tell them. They probably generally only have one.
Yeah, I'm sure. Cheap as possible if it's the mall.
Yeah, and then, you know, whether or not those folks actually get paid to do it, you know, in the end, so.
and I have no knowledge, Blandy might, if actually the mall is the one paying, or if, you know, one or more tenant is paying. I mean, I don't know that.
Local realtor has helped them secure tenants. He said he hadn't been paying.
A local realtor? Oh,
Okay, anything else on that? Council, any other questions on the mall? We can move on?
Yes, thank you so much.
Anything else?
I really have received a number of calls and, I think
likewise.
our hearts break for all of them. It's, a struggle though, when you're asking, for private money for public money to go to a private setting, and, that's tricky. Kind of a slippery slope, kind of a conservative council, and I think that would be that would be really difficult for us to do, but
It's the visibility of it. What she was saying, around the main corner.
it's Main and Main.
Yeah, and it's on,
And nostalgic
in
for
the
those of
news
us that
all the
grew
time.
up there, and heartbreaking to see.
And I don't know if I said this clearly enough, I feel like I was rambling a little bit, but even if you told me, Tracy, right now, go buy them all, I don't know how we would do that because we are not allowed to use debt, COs. So even if we just wanted, even aside from, policy issue related to public money and private, there really is no path. There really is no financial path.
Did want to tell you the text that you passed on to me, that was passed on to the tenants, and I know that they have been calling the number to let them know that they were able to find that person, and from what I was told earlier today, that several people have called to let me
Nice.
know.
Okay, good. I'm just poke the bear.
Okay. Very good. Next up, we will receive departmental updates from fire, parks and rec, and the library. And you're not gonna be bumped this time.
Third time's a charm.
You are not.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate y'all letting me get up here and give you an update on the fire department.
We appreciate you waiting
Yeah, no problem.
for a month.
So currently, just want to talk about staffing a little bit. We're authorized for 130 people. That includes one over-hire position. That's 123 certified positions, 7 civilian positions. In our operations department, which, as I always tell people, that's the folks riding the big red trucks that make things happen in the fire department. We are authorized at 116. We currently have 113 in operations. That's 111 on the apparatus currently, 2 currently in the fire training academy, and then we have 3 open positions. And that's a little unusual, but I'll explain why we have that here in just a minute. So in admin, we have 14 positions, and we currently have all of those filled. So we basically ran out of people on our list, and that's why we don't have those 3 other positions filled yet. So we did have on November 9th a new hire exam and test. We had 403 of those folks sign up to test, which was a enormous amount compared to what we were getting in years past. Just even last year, we were only seeing around 150, 200 people sign up, and so we had double that. I talked regularly with the chief and Colleen. They saw something very similar. They held a test, I think it was a week or 2 before us, and they had around 420 sign up for theirs, and also had around 150, 175 show up. So very similar numbers to ours. But 158 took the test, and 104 passed both written and physical. So what's going on right now? Fire Marshal's office, one of the things that they do in addition to their fire marshal activities and investigative activities, they also do all of the background checks and the hiring processes for our new hires. And so they have been very busily interviewing folks and getting them ready for hire. And so our hope is to be able to start a new academy in February of 25. Anyone that needs to go to the academy, of course, will go. And then anyone that's already certified and ready to go will go through an initial short training process with us. So I want to talk a little bit about numbers. And as I think we've heard for the last 5-6 years, growth is the word, and run numbers are up. We are up again this year. Our incidents for FY24, which obviously is October 1 of 23 through September 30th of 24, we had 15,419 calls for service. You can see the breakdown of that. I don't want to go over all of those. Fires were down a little bit this year, and it's because we had a wetter year than we've had the last 2. And so, but you can see our numbers and our averages stay about the same for the amount of calls. We're always right around 60 to 70% EMS and rescue calls, around 2 to 3% on fires, and then the others stay pretty consistent as well. So we are consistent there. They just are increasing in the number.
The percentages are consistent, is what you're saying, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. So fire breakdowns, we had 65 building fires, 28 cooking fires. And while those do occur in a building, we do track those separately. But anyway, we had 28 cooking fires, 71 vehicle fires, 64 brush and grass fires, 106 grass and rubbish fires. I'm sorry, dumpster and rubbish fires, and then 28 that were others that just didn't fit into any of our normal reporting categories. So if you look back, all the way back to 16 is what I have the data for. You can see each year we kind of started creeping up a little bit, and you can see we added right around 400 calls this last year. If you look at responses, and again, responses are a little bit different than actual calls. So calls are where, like, if we get a house fire, that's one call, but you get 6 apparatus on it. So that would equate to 6 responses for that call. So if you look at it, we've had around 18,320 of those. And you can see the breakdowns for the month. It's really kind of funny. Normally, some of our busier months are the ones you wouldn't think. So February is always busier, January, February. Anyone want to guess why? Ice storms. So they typically get us real busy. And then, of course, May. Anyone think of anything that happened big in May? So anyway, May was a huge month for us. Obviously, most of those related to the tornado. Anyway, those are where they are. And you can see our summer months go down a little bit. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. I think maybe just because folks are out and on vacation elsewhere. And so they're not home to have a problem. Anyway, that's where it is. So if you look by station, you can see still by far Station 1, which is our central station down here, is our busiest far and away. Station 3, which is out on Midway, is next up. And then Station 4 down on Waters Dairy is next. And so we have seen those numbers continue to grow over the years. And like I say, they are going up. One thing to note, Station 7 is catching Station 2. When I first got here, Station 7 was running about the same call volume as Station 8. And you can see they have really jumped up in their call volume. And again, that's because of all the building and construction that's going on the west part of town. And that's why we're really looking at enhancing our services on that west side. Calls for service and people are really growing on the west side of town now. And so we're seeing it in the run numbers. But you can see we have about 51 average responses per day and about 43 average calls for service per day. So that means each and every day when you wake up, 43 of our citizens that did not believe they were going to need fire and rescue services end up needing them. Because like I say, no one ever calls and schedules an event with us. So it's always a reaction response for us.
Chief,
Yes, ma'am.
go back.
Oh, yeah.
Station 4. Can you ballpark compare that to the year before because of the growth out in that in the 93 area?
So I want to say there's around 300 more, just off the top of my head. Seems like we were right around 2,000 last year.
Okay.
So we average right around 190 to 200 calls at Station 4 a month.
And I know that we're expanding, changing
Yes, ma'am.
Station 4 as time goes on. Are they feeling just unbelievably crunched because of growth out there and they're stuck right where they are, so to speak, for the time being?
I don't know about crushed. I mean, they are definitely feeling busy.
Crunched.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing, and Brendan, David, and I have talked about this a little bit. They're becoming a little bit more what we call unreliable, which means they're not there to answer the call, so someone else has to come do that for them because they're out on another call already. Yeah, so they're already busy. So we're starting to see that. Normally, that happens right around that 180 to 200 calls per month is where you start to see reliability for stations start to drop off.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. All right, I did want to point out, and this is October's. I always get a question. So, does a drought or does dry seasons really make a difference for us? And what I'll tell you is, October was our driest month that we had this year. And if you look at our call volume for fires, we had 72. That was about almost 1.5 times the average numbers of fires that we have a month, and most of those were grass fires. And so does it make a difference? Does it make us busier? Yes, absolutely. And so, when you hear us putting out a burn ban, or you hear us, urging people to be careful with their fires, or, not to start a fire, or be careful with their barbecues and everything else. This is why, because we do see a direct correlation between drought weather and our response numbers. So fire marshal's office, again, they do a lot of things, the fire cause determination, arson investigations, code enforcement, inspections, plan review, all of those types of things. very busy, and we really appreciate all the help that we've gotten in there for the last few years to help beef up that office so that we have more staff to be able to spread those tasks out. But they did 232 fire permit issues just so far this year, over 1,000 fire inspections. And so those numbers are really up, and I'm really happy to see that. The more times we get out and inspect and do prevention activities, the fewer fire calls you'll see for us. And that means less damage to people's property, and also less loss of revenue, both for them and for the city. So inspection and prevention activities go a long way towards helping everybody out. And then 74 fire investigations. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they do all of our hiring and background checks and the hiring process. So I did want to touch on, and I got this from the Public Works Solid Waste discussion back a few weeks ago. I just want to let you guys know it's not just in Public Works or in that area where there are problems with getting vehicles. We also have some problems getting vehicles. But again, CMO and finance has been extremely helpful for us, and our vendor that we use has been extremely helpful for us. So virtually every unit up there, except for the FY26 additional squad rescue, has already been pre-ordered, including the ladder truck for Fire Station 9 that's not in the budget actually until 27. We have pre-ordered that vehicle. Now, the reason why we've done it now is the lead time on that is 42 to 48 months. So 4 years to get a ladder truck now. That's crazy. Back prior to COVID, it was 10 to 12 months to get a ladder truck. So it is 4 times what it used to be. I also could get an engine in around 6 to 8 months. It is now taking 32 to 36 months now. So the FY23 engine and the FY24 engine, when we pre-ordered those back in 22, the lead time was only 24 months back then. But I still don't have them. So we are still waiting on those, even though we've already pre-ordered them and paid for them. Well, we've got a purchase order for them. We haven't paid any money, but we still haven't got them yet. We're in line, and we're getting ready in January to go do our pre-build, but it'll be another 6 to 8 months after we do that pre-build before we actually receive the vehicle here in Temple.
You have to put a deposit down whenever you order?
No, sir.
You have to start making payments whenever they start building?
No, sir.
Okay.
So we don't,
Even though we're ordering now, the bill comes due whenever they roll off the line, so to speak.
so when they roll into town and we say they're good, that's when we pay the bill.
Got it. Good.
There's a few times they offered like a big discount.
Yep.
If you pay the whole thing. And we just kind of did the math, did it
Yeah.
make sense or did
Do you
it
lock
not?
in the price
So
when you order?
yes, all of the prices, and that's another great thing about what's going on here is not only am I in line and I'm already on the calendar to get them built, but we locked in the prices as what they are today.
And it's one of those things too, without it, they're at risk that a purchase order's not gonna be issued.
We do have to, even though we don't pay for the engine until it's delivered, we do have to appropriate the funds when you all officially approve the order and we issue the purchase order. But what we've been doing under Chief's leadership is issuing basically an intent to purchase, which they accept from me, even though I have no authority to buy a fire truck. So.
Evidently you do.
No.
They accept it, you do.
No, because if you guys didn't approve if you ultimately didn't approve it when we come to you, then the engine company is just, they're out that, but, and I think what would happen is they would never let us do that again. So hopefully y'all continue to approve the fire trucks that we have on that list.
Yeah, and they take our stickers off and put somebody else's stickers on.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure.
And that's exactly what happened. So that we never, like, let's say that 23 engine, they had to pay a $5,000 deposit to the company that builds it in order to basically get that truck. And so if we end up not taking it, then they have to, of course, pay the full value for the vehicle. But what they're going to do is there's going to be another department out there that's looking for one. They're going to buy it if we don't.
Which is what we did with the ARC truck. That's why we got that one so fast. Is
Yep.
somebody had pre-ordered it, they didn't go through with it, and so we
Wow.
did.
We got trash trucks like that.
I'm holding my pass
Don't
Yes,
get
ma'am.
our hopes up. We've already done that once.
Is there any way
They'll pass the Facebook message right.
look at some proposed possible federal tariffs that may go in and how that will affect parts and steel and
About trash.
all of that stuff?
Yeah, so I wouldn't even know where to start there. Now, I will tell you that the manufacturers are obviously going to be looking at that stuff on what's going to happen with steel, aluminum, and those prices. The beauty part is all of these, I've already locked in the price for all of them. And so really, whatever they do with the tariffs,
Parts don't come.
Well,
We're just later,
correct. Yeah, we
Okay.
just get delayed further.
yeah.
And that's actually what's happened with the 23 engine is,
Sure.
they're still waiting on parts. And quite honestly, the things that's held us up most of the time has been axles. So the axles for the vehicles seems to be what's the big holdup.
Where do
And
axles come from?
so they're made here in the United States, the ones that we use. So yeah, they're just behind and
Sure.
they don't appear to be interested in getting caught up.
Where are we at if one got in a bad wreck or do we have any backup?
So we've got some reserve vehicles, but getting a replacement, I mean, we're 36 months out from the day we order.
We do have some reserve.
We do. Yeah, we have 3 reserves in a reserve lab.
Engines, engine trucks.
Right, fire
Not
engines.
engines themselves.
Right, no.
Which is why that, blocker vehicle makes a whole lot of sense
Yeah.
instead of using a fire truck to block traffic.
That truck you can get in about 6 months. And plus the blocking device on it, I can get that in 3 days. Yeah, they've got those in the yard up in Dallas. And literally, if it gets hit, we drive up there, they'll replace it, we'll get it back in 3 days.
That's the same basic assembly as on the construction trucks that are.
It is exactly, I mean, it is a construction, it's the same thing that TxDOT buys. So, yep. All right, so this one's a real exciting project for me. I did not get a chance to update the pictures. This was from actually from the last meeting I was going to do, but this is a training center. And so the police simulation building and our SCBA confidence building right here on the top are 2. It is coming along very nicely. It's actually further along than this. It's got doors and some windows in it now. But the inside's looking fantastic and that building's really coming along well. The bottom 2 on the left-hand side here is our trailer storage building, and it is virtually done. The only thing we're waiting on in there is some sealing of the concrete and getting the electrical power put on. The one on the bottom left is our draft tank and our test pit for testing our fire apparatus. This one is actually completely filled in. The top is poured, but they just poured that on Tuesday. And so they did the final pavement pour to the driving pad and the skills pad on Tuesday. And they also poured the top of this draft tank on Tuesday. So we are really making some great progress. Our contractor out there is doing great. And then the road between the airport and the training center, again, long time coming. I think it's been talked about probably 11 or 12 years, even before I got here. And it's coming along very well. They are actually going to start pouring it is it next week or week after, Kirby? The first pour, it's next Wednesday?
Yes, Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. So we're going to make the first pour on it next week. So that's coming along fantastic.
So the contractor's meeting your timeline?
They are actually ahead of where they originally said they were. We should take possession of the trailer storage and the driving pad next week.
It's always so nice to hear good things about our local contractors.
Yes.
Yeah, they are doing a fantastic
Well,
job.
they're good.
Yeah.
This is the first project I think we had awarded to them, and they have been a standout star. They've done a great job. They've been great to work with. They're ahead of schedule. And as y'all know, you also just recently awarded the partner project to them as well. So, and really pleased with that. That's great.
And they started Monday. So we've been talking with them because obviously that's right outside our side door. And they're going to start tearing down the old bank building. So it'll be starting to disappear come Monday. So
Great.
woohoo.
They're also very good to work for as a subcontractor.
Hope they keep bidding on our work.
Yep.
They've been great to work with.
I'm trying to convince them that a fire station is in their future.
All right, there you go.
So if y'all remember the last time I talked with y'all, we talked a lot about the Highway 36 bit with the big pipe and the lost load. And I really thought that one was going to be our big thing for the year and that there wouldn't be anything else to top that one. And well, along came May 22nd. Again, we had, that was a really challenging day and a challenging couple of weeks for us right afterwards with the immediate needs of our citizens. I'm very proud of the crews and how they responded and how they got out there and helped everybody. They all did a fantastic job, and like I said, just super proud of them. I say it was a really challenging time. You guys probably, I remember that I came from Joplin, and so we had a tornado back in 11, also on May 22nd. I don't know if you guys saw the story that the Telegram did on that. It was, trust me, the irony was not lost on me about that. That was really weird that all happened.
So
the
where are you
commented
gonna
on
be
the
next May 22nd?
So I've already had several people tell me that wherever you are at May 22nd, we're leaving and getting away from you. So,
We're hoping you're going on vacation somewhere very comfortable.
yeah, exactly. I'll probably get hit by a hurricane.
No,
So-
too early.
So anyway, again, can't say enough about our crews and how they responded. And actually, all the city crews did a fantastic job, and really just wanted to recognize them for their efforts during that time. So afterwards, of course, we had the cleanup to do, and so we helped out Justin and his crews with the cleanup and the debris removal. We had the two sites go, in the Bullseye site and the Everhart site. And I helped with the permitting and stuff on that and got them going. But Justin and then the D&J crew.
How do you spell that?
Exactly. All came in and did again a fantastic job. They were very easy to work with, and just like I said, did stupendous for us. I can't say enough about Justin and his folks. Again, they were superstars during this period. And again, you'd think, okay, well, hey, we've had enough excitement, and then one of the sites caught on fire. And so again, a very challenging event. Our C-Ship crew and some neighboring volunteer departments came out there and helped fight that fire. We ended up making, I don't know. Then we ended up being able to stop the fire there and contain it to just a small portion of that pile. Again, great effort by all the crews, worked very hard. And of course, you can see them there standing in between it. And you see how tall that pile was. Uh-oh, not working out.
Hold on a second, we lost there.
Okay.
I gotta reshare. Sorry.
Okay. So just kind of want to recognize some of our folks again for the really great efforts and just the really great things that have been going on over the fire department. We've had some promotions, and this is one of our promotion ceremonies and badge pinnings. So we always look to celebrate those folks that have worked very hard and earned a promotion up through the ranks. And so it takes a real big effort. We include the families, as you can see, they've got the son and the wife up there doing the pinning and stuff. Because it's a family effort. These guys, they spend hours upon hours studying and preparing themselves for these tests and training themselves to be able to take that next step in levels of responsibility. And so it's not just them putting forth the time and the effort, it's their families as well, allowing them to do it. And so we're always very happy to have family and everybody there. And the same with the badge pinnings. We're always very happy to have family there because it's a start in the fire service, and the fire service is a big family. And so we like to recognize that and celebrate that. This is our first of one of our many paramedic classes coming up. We had 5 of our folks in there. All 5 successfully passed the paramedic class and then successfully passed their paramedic state exam on the first try. And so again, great effort by our folks, and they did good. And I think 3 of them are already out fully practicing in paramedics, and 2 others are still going through some training with some mentors, because being a paramedic is a lot different than just being an EMT firefighter. Being a paramedic, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it. And so we want to make sure that folks have that down and are able to perform at a high level before we just turn them loose to do everything by themselves. The gentleman over here on the left side is firefighter Lanham, and he was the class valedictorian for this class. And of the last 4 classes over at CTC that we've had people in, 3 of them we have had the class valedictorian at. So super proud of our folks. They always put forth a fantastic effort and take this training very seriously. Two more folks that got some training in. This is Mark Engelke over here, completed the Battalion Chiefs Academy back in May, and then Jennifer completed her National Emergency Managers certification back in, I think it was May or June. And again, very proud of both of them. A lot of work that went into both of those. Just Tuesday night, we recognized 2 of our folks up there on the top. So on the left-hand side, that is driver Scott Gentry, that was named the Paramedic of the Year. He had a couple of calls that were really good, but one of them, he treated 2 patients with some pretty serious injuries, and at the same time, got them both to the hospital in good shape. And so really appreciated him for his efforts there and awarded him for that. And then Stuart Laperouse on the right-hand side top, he was the American Legion Firefighter of the Year. And again, he was on most of the large calls, the large Typhoon 36. He was on that one. He was, of course, at the tornado. He's participated in several of these major calls that we've had. And then also he's a real integral part of our rescue crew and our special operations team, and is just a real go-getter and a real squared away person, teaches in our fire academy. And so we recognized him for his efforts. Again, a really great guy. And then down here in the bottom middle, Jason Haltom was our training officer for a little bit. He's now a captain back out of Fire Station 5, but he was recognized by Exchange Club as the Firefighter of the Year. Had our 9/11 remembrance ceremony, and David and Mayor Pro Tem Walker both spoke for us, and very much appreciated that. And again, probably our biggest attendance that we've had at that in several years. Other than when we actually do the stair climb at Wildcat Stadium, had over 100 people there. It was a really great morning, and appreciated everybody showing up to that and supporting the remembrance of that event.
David and I were the B team. B team showed up.
No, you guys were great. So October is Fire Prevention Month, and of course we really hit the schools hard. I mean, we're in the schools every day with Santos and Buzzy, making sure that we're teaching those kids to, a safety mindset from basically as soon as they can understand it. But in October, we really hit it hard with the fire trucks and all of our equipment and stuff. And we hit every school and talk to every kid in the school as we do that. You can just see some pictures around of those events going on. Fire Safety Day was also in October. Again, probably our biggest turnout in several years. We had over 500 people attend. It was a really fun day. And our 2 most popular events were the pumpkin painting, which we contacted HEB, and they donated all the supplies and the staff to run it. They were awesome, and they had so much fun. They said, hey, we want to do it again next year. So that'll become a permanent part of our Fire Safety Day. And then, believe it or not, riding with me in the Diamond T was also a big hit. At one point, we had a line with probably 40 people in it waiting to go on a ride in the fire truck. So everybody likes riding the fire trucks. One thing we do on every Fire Safety Day, and then we also typically do it in April or May, we have a retiree breakfast. And we had about 20 of our retirees show up and eat breakfast with us, but that's just us cooking and then eating earlier that morning. Community Summit, we were obviously there. Again, a lot of folks came through and saw us, and it was really great. Gonna tell a little story on my wife. She was there helping with rescue elves and what we call Das Boot, where we take donations at. She was walking around, the boot got blown around in the wind a little bit, tripped her, and I think she actually broke her nose that night.
Oh,
So,
no.
Yeah, she looked pretty rough for about a week afterwards, but, and Kirby, I think actually saw it. I did not. I was over talking with some folks but yeah, she had a kind of a rough time. So when I tell you she puts her all into rescue elves, I'm just not
Yeah,
kidding.
her nose got stuck.
Yeah, she got booted by it. So, junior fire cadets, again, one of our great programs we do. It was in June, very successful. Ms. Walker showed up at the graduation again. We had that in, I think it was the 1st of July, 1st or 2nd of July. But over 140 cadets and then another 20 some odd counselors that helped us out with that. It's a 2-week session. We do 2 of them right in a row. It was, again, really great time, always very popular. And this year, again, we kind of had a record amount of people wanting to do it. And we did manage to get most of them in. But we also, it was interesting. We were going to open our signups at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, and we were a little late getting it posted. And our phone exploded at Central because people were calling going, did I miss it already? And we were like, no, we're running short. So we opened about 8:30, and by 9 o'clock, we were full. So 30 minutes to sign up 150 kids. It was absolutely incredible how fast that thing fills up. Rescue elves were in full swing. Again, my wife, the chief elf, is over at Central right now helping sort toys and gifts. We, again, have another record year. It seems like that's all I've been saying all day is a record year. But we have right at 100 families and 300 children that we're helping out this year. And again, this program is very special to me and very, very deep in my heart for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously, my wife is in charge of it and really takes the leadership role in it. But secondly, it's because we are helping those kids that literally are falling through the cracks. And when you look through our bags of stuff that have been requested, it's like I said, it's what we would consider everyday essentials. So socks, underwear, clothes for school, coats, those types of things. We rarely see a really extravagant request like an iPad or a PlayStation 5 or anything. We see mostly requests for basic items. And so we are happy to get those for those kids. The community has really turned out for us this year. We have over 200 of those 300 kids sponsored by community members. And so again, it's just turning into a really fantastic program. And we're being able to grow at the even larger scale. And so very proud of that and very proud of my wife and the other Temple Fire staff that comes and helps and all the other wives as well. And we've really got some great partnerships out there with some of our community businesses and stuff, particularly West Adams Walmart is one of our biggest sponsors, and that's where we typically shop every year. All right, so a couple things here. We've got our Christmas dinner and awards party coming up on December 18th. I think everybody should have received that invitation, I'm hoping. And so I want to make sure that to let you guys know, we'd love to have you there. We will be handing out a lot of service awards this year because of the year we've had. Like I say, it's been an exceptionally busy year, an exceptionally challenging year for all of us. And so we'll be handing out a lot of awards and recognizing a lot of folks that night. And we'd love to have you all be a part of it. And then the next thing is, I just want to stand up here and as the chief, just give you a heartfelt thank you, because we don't get to do this enough. And I don't think it gets done enough, but we understand that you guys, have a big job to do and, money can only stretch so far, but you guys have always taken care of us, both city manager's office, council, finance, with pay, with benefits and all of those things. And we are really appreciative of that. Also very appreciative of the new fire equipment we get and the stations that are coming. And just wanted to tell you that we do notice and we do really appreciate it. And thank you. And that's it.
Thank you.
Questions? All right, thanks.
Go ahead and take care of you now.
Okay,
You mind?
sure, not a
Okay.
problem.
I told Kevin to hit the hook at 4.
All right,
Every time you leave him.
we can do this. Now, we'll make it short, sweet, and simple. Good afternoon. I'm going to talk with you today about our fabulous library and museum to the City of Temple. Oh, thank you. It'll be easier to do with the clicker. This is our administrative team. This is our library supervisory team. And this is our archive and museum team. So we're going to start with the library. So over the past 120 days, we have started on these various projects or completed them. So we are in the middle of a speaker installation project, and that's a speaker system throughout the building. In case of an emergency, we're able to make an announcement where people can leave the building, know to leave the building, where to go to. The libraries haven't had that before, so this is a huge safety upgrade for us. We completed our staff development day at the end of September this year. We received our state accreditation, so we are a state accredited library. That provides us not only with huge discounts on a number of our databases, but also gives us our interlibrary loan program and the ability to get reimbursed in that program. Essentially, we run a free interlibrary loan program to get materials for our customers that we may not be able to afford with we also just received a donation of blood pressure cuffs. This was from the American Heart Association. It was paid for by Mr. McLean. And the goal with these cuffs, once we get them cataloged, is that the local area hospitals will be provided information to give to their patients to be able to check these cuffs out from the library so that they can monitor their blood pressure and hopefully provide some real cost because each of these kits is about $75 a piece that these patients would have to be getting out of pocket. And this way there's multiple use. They don't have it sitting around their house. So we're excited. Hopefully in January or February, they'll be able to have those ready for service. We also received the Practice School grant. This was to augment our Spanish language for children and students. So we were able to use Spanish language and bilingual. This is also to add to our 1,000 books for kindergarten program and provide materials for that program. We also translated our 1,000 books before kindergarten program booklet into Spanish. And you'll see here in a little bit, we're going to be doing some training with staff as well so that we can communicate that with our Spanish speaking population. And then I had the pleasure of a CNA with Buford to talk about the tool library and share that information. And we had some really great questions and follow up from other communities that are really interested in doing something. We started our request for proposal process for our integrated library system. This is the database that the whole library runs through. It's the catalog, it's how we check out materials, it's how you know what you have checked out. It keeps our inventory, everything. So it's a huge project, but we started that process about a month ago. And then we also received a number of kits, 30 kits, that we were able to purchase through funding from the Friends of the Temple Public Library. So these are things these are kits for ages roughly 3 to 12, various ages in between. And in these kits, you'll find things like circuitry, mathematics, various engineering applications, and toys that they would use and learn through that play. And then our programs and services. So this past Friday, we had our past Monday, it feels like almost a week ago. We had our Light Up for Literacy program that was in conjunction with the parade downtown. We had about 160 attendees inside for that program and hundreds more outside for free cocoa in the bounce house. We also had our Temple, Texas tabletop program, our art gallery night. There we go. We finished up our summer reading program and we finished our food program with TISD at the end of July. We had around 3,700 meals that were given away this summer to kids in our community. And then some other of our events, holiday craft pop-up, the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten booklet, printmaking, homebuyer education workshops, and free museum day. And then here's what we're looking to work on in the next 120 days with our projects. We hope to award a applicant for our RFP for the integrated library system and begin that migration. That is, we're looking at anywhere from a 4 to 8 month migration period. We're hoping somewhere in the 6-month range for that. We are applying for the Municipal Library Directors Association Excellence Award, and hopefully we'll be rewarded that in early 2025. We're working on some digitization grants for both our archive and the newspapers that we have on microfilm. One of the things that we're hoping to do is take the old historic versions of the Temple Daily Telegram that we have and have them uploaded to the Texas portal for history portal, Texas History Portal. That's the one that's run through the University of North Texas. But that does require a substantial financial burden. So we are looking for grant opportunities for that. And then we're working on Spanish classes, setting those up for our staff to be able to talk with our community members who are speaking about how to sign up for the 1,000 Books for Kindergarten program, where the materials for that program are, and then some of our basic computer systems so that they can utilize the library better. And then the roof repair, as was mentioned earlier. So the roof was damaged by a hailstorm a few weeks before the tornado, and then damaged even further by the tornado. We have had some lovely decorative waterfalls in the building. There are two things at the library that we do not love. They are fire and water. Yeah, yeah. But thank you for helping us actually take care of this issue. We are working on moving some of the archives browsing collection to the second floor of the library so that it's more accessible to the community.
Where is it now?
It's currently in the Kyle building, which
Right, that's what I
also
thought, yeah.
regularly experiences flooding.
Right.
So it just flooded again a few weeks ago. So in order to prevent further loss of materials from our archive, we're going to move those at least browsing materials to the library where we have space. So we're working on cleaning out those rooms right now. And then we are hopeful we will have our bookmobile ribbon cutting and launch either in January or February, depending on the delivery date. As of right now, it is completed. We are just waiting on final inspection and a delivery date from the company that built it. For programs and services, we are starting some new book clubs. So we've got Epic Reads, Finish a Masterpiece. So for those of you who claim that you've read Dorian Gray or Emma or any of the other classics, but would actually like to read them and know what they're about, we will be holding a book club every other month, and it'll be a very relaxed and inviting way to get through some of those more arduous books. We are also starting a new story time. This is called Little Ones. It's for ages 12 months to 24 months. This is a group that doesn't really belong with the babies and baby bookworms, and they don't have the attention span for the toddler story time. So this is the happy medium for them. So that will start in January as well. We are cataloging and we'll be circulating the blood pressure cuffs, hopefully in the next 2 months. Our bookmobile, once we have it and we go through our launch, we will have pop-up locations. So we're working on some agreements with some other businesses in the area, some grocery stores, some large retail areas to talk about setting up in their parking lot so we can meet people in our community where they are. We're also doing some diabetes series called Be Well, CPR classes, reading challenges, and then launching our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten in Spanish.
Wait. What's the Nutcracker? You missed that.
Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. That's tomorrow night. So it's a performer that is doing the Nutcracker suite, but with dogs.
Oh, cool.
So please come. There will be dogs. It will be. And it's at 6 p.m. on Friday.
Where's Chief? Are you listening to this? Dogs, Nutcracker tomorrow night, Smokey. Chief
No
knows
problem, no problem.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Could learn a move or two. You're all invited. And then real quickly, our key performance indicators for fiscal year 24. Last year, we circulated 386,000 materials. That's physical and digital, with our physical being 363,000 and our digital being 22,000. For our door count, we were at 177,501. We are currently losing some of those numbers, so the data looks a little bit lower than it was last year, but because of the interior elevator situation and where our door counter is, we're definitely not collecting all of that data, and we have purchased some door counters, but we're hoping to get them online to the system so that we can actually use them and do a better job of collecting that data. Program attendance, we had 24,407 attendees to library programs. This graph is misleading that it's only 1,000 less than last year. It looks huge, but it is not a giant number. And then our savings to the community. So this is how much our community members would have had to have spent on ebooks, audiobooks, physical books, but by checking them out from the library, they were able to. So this past year, We saved our community $4,915,473 just in checking out materials. That doesn't include computer use, cost, program experience, and everything like newspapers, periodicals, anything like that. And then for the museum, in the last 90 days, we have hired a new museum development assistant in charge of our fundraising and for applying for grants. We also have a Railroad and Heritage Museum Foundation Board, and they have agreed to fund a trackless train for us. So they are doing their own fundraising, and then they are, no matter what, they said they will purchase the trackless train for us. But we're very excited about this. It is a 4-car train that looks like a mini train. So instead of a barrel train, it looks like an actual train with train cars and a coal car that fits about 4 to 6 people, including adults, in the train cars and can drive them around. So we're very excited about this.
Where do you drive them around?
So we have some designated spots around the plaza that we drive our barrel train. when we have
Oh,
events.
okay.
It would be the same similar route.
Same.
However, we would also like to ride this in like the Christmas parade and any other functions as well. It's a lot nicer looking. It looks like a train and not just some barrels. So
Sure.
we would like to get it out and about in the community as much as possible because it's going to be gorgeous. And then we have some temporary exhibit walls for the lobby space. So when that space isn't being rented on the first floor, there is room for interpretation. And now we have walls that we can move in and out of that space to have that extra interpretation. We also had our Muggle Mayhem event. We had 315 attendees to that program in October. Fright Fest was hosted in the plaza. The library and museum oversaw that this year. We had about 3,000 attendees to that. We currently have the 4th grade project as one of our temporary exhibits. Head-to-toe selections of historic fashion are fashion items from the city of Temple that are on display in our temporary exhibit. Hemingway and Comics was a temporary exhibit that we've had up. A Scott and White exhibit, Yosemite People. We also had a Yosemite People Last Look program, so it was your last chance to see the exhibit. We also had a speaker from Texas Parks and Wildlife, as well as some food, and the foundation board agreed and purchased some wine for us as well. So it's a lovely evening, and we're hoping to do some more of this in the future. And then we had a reading challenge and museum challenge to go along with that Yosemite People program also. What we're looking forward to in the next 120 days is Santa at the Depot is this Saturday. We have sold over 500 tickets to this event. And when I say sold, it is free this year and it's in the morning. So we have had over 500 time slots filled for that event. We do have a vendor market. It's looking like rain, so we have a contingency plan for that, but we did sell vendor spots for this event this year. We also have Santa Paws, so if you have a fur baby instead of a human baby, you can get their photos. We are going to be doing a preview day for Small Wonders. It'll be another evening of wine and cheese and snacks after hours on January 31st to see the new exhibit that we have called Small Wonders. Warning, Small Wonders is actually gigantic photographs of insects. So if you are not an insect fan, this is not the exhibit for you. But they are about 6 foot tall panels, wide, really in your face. But if you don't like bugs, I understand. You typically don't want to see them in a museum anyway. And then we will also have our Small Wonders Family Day coming up on February 1st. And then our KPIs with the museum. For this past year, we had 17,791 visitors to the museum. We did have some changeover between museum management and some other staff between fiscal year 23 and 24. So we did have questions about the discrepancy and the decrease in membership. Some of the longtime staff are saying that this has actually been the busiest year that they've seen. So we're just wondering if it's a discrepancy in record keeping, but we are looking in to see why that number is so much lower. And then our program attendance, again, we had 4,257, which is a bit of a discrepancy there between fiscal year 23 and 24. So we're trying to understand where those numbers came from and why they might be lower, and if it was more of an accounting issue than unnecessary a decrease in actual attendance. That's all. 15 minutes, do I make it?
You did, good job.
All right. Any
Councilman
questions?
Zane?
Excellent.
So much going on.
Yeah, but it's great.
So
It's,
much.
it's been
Pride
really
Fest,
good.
3,000 people.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
It was really good. We had, my favorite thing, I think, of the entire night, besides, just how busy it was and the circle of people. I don't know what happened this year, but there were so many children dressed as avocados. And I was I'm so happy. So many little avocados walking.
And Muggle Mayhem said that was.
Yes, in fact, it sold out so quick, it sold out in 2 weeks. And that one we do charge $10 a person for. It was so popular, we had so much feedback from the parents who would like to have something similar for adults only. So next year we have on our calendar to have a Friday night Muggle event, that is a more adult event, no children allowed. We'll see if our board will have some wine and some snacks as well, and then do the big Muggle Mayhem event for families on that Saturday. So that way we can.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
So much for our kids and our community between, what she just told us about the 30 minutes having the summer camp fill up and wonderful.
It took about a week for Santa to sell out as well, and that's 515 tickets that we have this year. So, yeah, it's awesome. I love
It
it.
really, really is. Congratulate Elizabeth, please,
Oh,
also.
absolutely. Yeah, she's doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Parks.
And just for your information, 15 minutes was including questions and answers.
Oh,
You did not.
So 15.5.
You have 26 minutes.
I know, the pressure. Good afternoon, council, mayor. It's been a while since I've been up here and did a presentation, and so it's your early Christmas present. So I'll try to get you out in about 30 minutes. But I do want to reiterate what the chief said is the council support, not just the compensation study that you support that, but just the events and just everything. And it's a great city. It is a great city to, me, when I get up and I start being, I'm going to talk about the city and Parks and Recreation. So let's start with recreation. Back to we'll do the same format. I'm looking at my rearview mirror, and then I'm gonna look at the shield and the speed bumps or whatever. But aquatics still doing strong. The one I think I really like is swim lessons. Is that you see the swim lessons did increase from last year. There's a slide coming up on the windshield that I'm really excited. I know staff's excited because it's maybe kind of like a grant, but scholarships that we'll talk about a little bit more. But that's, everybody needs to know how to swim. And so I think that's an important one. We've got a great opportunity coming up next summer. Dunkin' Doggies, who doesn't like that event? And obviously the word's getting out or the litters are growing, but more dogs are coming. And that one right there, that dog's name is actually Chubbs. And so
I took my two. They loved it.
yeah, so it's great. And
It's a great picture, Kevin.
I know, thank you.
It's funny.
So I'm gonna stop here real fast because I also, my supporting cast today, if you have any questions, we've got Leah Anderson, she's one of the assistant directors. We've got Jeff Ward, he's a manager at the golf course. Chuck Graham, the other assistant director, and then we got Angela Hassel, she manages the convention center. So I forgot to mention that, so sorry, but anyway, that's just for the whole department that do a fantastic job. And then, of course, down at the bottom, we just had Thanksgiving, and what better way that morning to do the turkey trot, and the numbers are up in that as well. Look at that top picture. Wow, isn't that great? So Summit, we over the last year or two trying to transition the corporate challenge from the athletic department over into Summit, more like the wellness side, and they've been running it. And numbers were down a little, but competition was great. Still 314 individual staff in the city of Temple participated and brought home the trophy again. So that's great. That's great. Under events, the haunted hayride, I don't know how many get to go out and participate in that, but They sold out online, and with that, in the day of, over 1,400 people went through there. They are talking about adding another day because of the demand. So that's a great thing. Down at the plaza, the yard, you probably remember that maybe a year or so ago, the break-ins and everything. So we've changed policies, changed direction, and a while back, went through the Parks Board, rates are set. So the plaza is now available for people to host events. We can put events down there. So I think we've got that under control and a good process.
Any interest yet?
So I see his head nod. So see, that's why I bring the 18 back there. So
Yeah, we've had several outdoor event applications submitted for it.
and then
That wasn't an easy decision to shut that down, but it wasn't working. You know, so I'm glad there is some interest. That wasn't wasted money and effort. Okay, good.
there'll be a slide in a second. The Special Events Division had applied at the Texas Event Festival Association, won several awards, and it's not just our department. It had marketing communications or communication marketing tied to it. It had the airport and their staff. A lot of the awards, and shoot, even Chief, the 4th of July got something I'll show you, but it is a team effort. But we were just happened to be the one that actually sent it in. And then beginning of Holly Jolly, I'm not sure who made it out to the tree lighting at the plaza last Saturday. That was unique. There'll be a picture here in a second. But that is our kickoff to a whole month long of events, not only down there, but at our other facilities, and trying to put them all in a place that the residents can pick and choose what they want to go to. And there will be some information on that. But so here's the awards. This is to the right there as you look through and CTXAF, that's the Central Texas Air Festival. But that is Amanda, and Holly is actually the team lead for events. And we've got Chelsea and Ashley over there. That's the special event team that we have. The only one missing is our full-time admin assistant, Kimberly. So, but you can see the awards, and that just tells you that from our department, from communication marketing to fire, PD, everybody, you've got a great, I'm just preaching to the choir now, you've got a great city and you've got a great departments. And every year I tell you, it's a great city. I don't know if it's gotten any better. Every year we get better. And I think the citizens are real fortunate to have across the board staff. Marissa, I heard, Chief saying that all his staff got recognized and doing these things. So remember, this is Amanda when we get to her, but Marissa is the community, the program manager over at Salmons, and a couple of people nominated her, not city staff, for her to be the healthcare worker of the year, and went through and she won that and accepted that on October 8th. Amanda, that's pretty incredible that she got out of the TFEA Outstanding Young Professional. And I think it's just shows the quality of people we're trying to attract and we're getting here. And then the staff to kind of stretch yourself. It's not easy to get up and speak, but to go to a conference or somewhere and then actually do a session is even amazing. So Amanda, Holly, and Leah led their first educational sessions, and they didn't tell me that they were doing it, or I would have done it. But that's probably why they didn't. So here's just a picture. So they say a picture worth 1,000 words, and I know that Chief, you had a lot of great pictures. We throw a lot of pictures, and this is a dance over that the community center does. There's corporate challenge, the shoot. Here is the I will tell you, this is the tree lighting. I was actually there. I just don't remember I remember seeing kind of the strobe and stuff. But when I saw the picture, I'm like, was that photoshopped? And it was not. I tell you, it was different, and it was great. It reminded me, listening to the crowd this past summer at 4th of July when we had the drone show. Like, oh my gosh, and when the fireworks and stuff started going off, I think the team came up with a hit and I thought it, was great. And then there's the snow coming down. And then, of course, we had just a few pictures from the actual parade that was Monday night, and Santa coming in. We'll have a slide in a little bit. You know, Santa came in, but he's going to have to be leaving here soon too. So there'll be a slide. We'll talk about that. So things coming up on the recreation side. Christmas dinner's coming up soon. They've been doing, I don't know how many years now. It's always well attended. Probably close to maybe 400, 375, 400 that signed up. So I think they do 450 at the max, but the rec center, you know, it's very difficult. I will tell you, I whittled this. It's 36 slides. It was a lot more than that, and I just can't tell everything, right? So I had to pick and choose. And so the summit is doing great things over there, different camps. And I started looking at professional pickleball player. Who's this Craig Bobo? It does. So my son is a big tennis player, right? And he does pickleball. So I sent that to him. I said, "Hey, do you know this guy?" And so I sent his credentials and everything. He said, "No, I don't know him, but he made it to the U.S. Open for the senior division and won a round or two." He said, "That's impressive. If you can get to the U.S. Open, it doesn't matter what it is in New York, you're good." And so he's actually going to be giving the clinic on January 11th. So if you haven't signed up, I guess maybe you can sign up. And then Wilson Rec Center on the 28th, a lock-in. It's been a long time since I've heard of doing a lock-in at a gym, and we've done it before. I thought that was like in my day and time. They still do it. So they're doing great things over there. And then they have a Winter Wonderland, just another part of the Holly Jolly. You know, it's just everybody kind of does their own things. They're trying to capture it all so people will know what's going on in the city. Athletics. This one actually, two of these things were actually headed to the Parks Board next week. And we'll be, it's a draft. We'll be talking about how do we select instructors, because we're getting a lot of people asking. And they're just showing up and starting to use courts, charging people. So we're trying to come up with policies, and we have really held off over the years of giving something official because we only had 6 tennis courts. But you remember, as part of the place in the spaces, we're adding 2 more tennis courts, and then we're adding 6 pickleball courts. So we are working on that. That'll be coming, and I would suspect that the final draft or the final plan would be in January, Parks Board. And then Woodson Field, we officially take that over January 1st from the school district, and we'll be taking policies and rental rates Tuesday to the Parks Board, the draft only, and that will go to a January Parks Board, hopefully for the final. And there's December 21st for the airport. So Santa will be leaving a helicopter, if I remember correctly. So he came in on a fire truck, but he's leaving out on a helicopter, and be ready to get everything to the children. The one I got to be careful not to spill too much is, you know, the Blooming Festival went away. We bring it in, kind of retooling that whole thing. We're just right now still calling it the Iconic Music Festival. But in January, details and information will start coming out on what's the name and what's the level of entertainment. So that one will be, it'll be exciting. It'll be a great, next September, it's going to be a great time in Temple. And then Pedals and Pats kind of replaces that weekend timeframe of Women Temple. So it'll be down at the plaza, kind of like the Robinson Family Farm type event they have out there. I think that's kind of what they are going for. And then aquatics, will tell you that we are, believe it or not, already in January. Well, they think about aquatics year round, it seems like, but in January, they'll start advertising for the summer. Polar Bear Plunge, don't forget, if you want to be brave, sign up and get out there. There's Santa from last year or 2 years ago jumping in. And then the other one, here's the one I was talking about on swim lessons. The American Red Cross contacted our department and had an opportunity. Not all the cities jumped on it. We jumped on it. Proud for staff for doing this. But essentially, they have our swim lessons are $50 a child. but they are giving us 200 spots and paying $40 a child. So, remember we have 1,000 something swim lessons. So, what is good is so we can either, bless you.
Excuse me, thank you.
So we can either charge them the 10, or depending on if we want to try to scholarship, we can go to some service organizations and get that underwritten. But there's some statistics that came with it, and it said, and Leah's gonna help me if I mess up, but essentially, African-American children ages 5 to 19 have a 5.5 times greater rate of drowning in a pool, not public, but just a pool, than those of Caucasian background. So I always heard the African-American, they didn't take swim lessons, and you hear them drowning, and I'd never seen that statistic until they sent it over. So our goal is trying to reach, and we'll probably get with Councilmember Grant to, how do we get the word out to get people signed up for it? It's not income based. We're going to try to put some parameters on it. But I think that's what I'm so excited for. If we can get more people that would have never had an opportunity to swim through there. So we'll be reaching out to you for sure after that.
Did you say 5.5 times?
I knew it. I had heard a high number before. I did not know the number until, but that is correct, right? Okay, okay. Switching over to the convention center. Here's 6 month in review. So Tracy, you remember last council workshop, she gave a report, and you saw the revenues for, she talked about golf, good sides, right, over the course of time. And that, I think that's, the Jeff's leadership, it's the council support on the improvements out there. And then, the revenues and stuff are down in days at the convention center. And I'll show you some things, and I'll kind of explain, I think, why that is. Now, and I will tell you, anytime I start throwing up numbers and stuff, these are not audited by Tracy's group. So these are in the ball field, so I'm always careful to make that statement. So Tracy doesn't have to pick up her pen and start making notes. That's not right, Kevin. So she's great. But you see that you can look at the 24, it's a lighter blue, all the bars are pretty much, except for catering food service, are lower. And I'll hit this and then I'll talk a little bit about it. And then if we're looking out in the next 6 months, once again, we're going to be behind where we were last year. What we've got going on over there some is, and we throw this at you, the speed bump. So communication and marketing, of course, they try to go out there and sell the center, correct? And and even Angela, I think, hears this from the customers when they're there, is the sound, the AV needs a lot of love, needs help. And then we have struggled over the last year, at least, in food and beverage, getting somebody there that's over it, that knows what they're doing, getting staff, bartenders. We used to have no problem. Now we have a contract with somebody. Are they still out of Waco?
Pulls from all over.
Yeah, so we have to contract with somebody to send us bartenders. So that is an issue that we can't provide. When you come to a convention center, you want to be able to go to them and say, hey, I have this many people. Can you do this food or whatever? And we don't have the ability. So they're having to go outside and do all the work on their own. So that's just two of the reasons that we're struggling over there. Angela has a wish list of 1.7 million, but really to address the concerns of our people that are renting or now not renting, we're looking just a little under 600,000. I think she got something in today. We had a consultant maybe a year ago to look at the whole AV and audio. And so we went back to them and said, hey, if we don't have the whole money, what can we do to kind of piece it in? And she got that today. And I believe it was around 400,000. So, and that just addressed the main hall. So those are items that we've got to try to address, or we're going to continue to struggle. And I think Angela's even lost some people that that you've had before. That's not coming back. Here's the other one that we have worked, this one has been, has not been an easy one, but we are going to, send out an RFP on, trying to get a company to come in and do our catering for the food, for the concessions, for the food and beverage, alcohol, everything. Thanks to purchasing and our team and the legals team, it's been a while and it is ready to go, but our finish line hit too close to Christmas, and so we're going to wait until Christmas is over before we push it out, and then hopefully that turns out to be a favorable result for us. Here's the golf course. So the from May to October, if you look, I tell you, it's kind of incredible because when you look, if you look down the golf rounds and tournament rounds, we're down. And the big thing that happened, of course, in May, we had rain, but then we also had the tornado event, right? That impacted us. So you say, okay, we've got more weather days. That means less rounds, more tournament round. But then look at the very end. It tells you how strong it is out there. Even with that, we're still up over last year, which is, to me, is amazing. And what Jeff told me earlier, he said, believe it or not, so that last year was our highest round that we just finished. He said, we're already ahead of that than last year. So that is incredible. That has come totally around for sure.
Is that due to just simply, obviously it's 2 more rounds, I know that. But is it because the competition in the area? I mean, do we have a superior golf course? Are there simply more golfers? What's driving the increase?
More people moving to Temple. We have the best greens of any public golf course around, which is due to Justin, our superintendent's ability to do his job. But also
what's around sort of what in how large of an area?
I compare us to Killeen, Stone Tree and Killeen, and the golf course at Fort Hood. And then, of course, Cottonwood and Waco. Those are our biggest ones, Mill Creek and Salado. So 30 miles or so.
Okay.
And of course, council in 2018 proving to redo the greens and get those right as we.
That's a big deal.
Here's the last 6 months. You see that once again for the 6 months, with weather days at the bottom, revenue went down, but look at this. So here we still were strong enough to exceed last year, even with the 97 days more weather days. A little asterisk, so I would not forget this. If you try to add those numbers up, it doesn't give you like the 1.5. Those are the biggest categories of numbers. There are a lot of other ones that are smaller, but those are the big. I told Jeff to remind me. I said, Jeff, I'm just going to put a little asterisk. I would not forget. Yeah, I know. What kind of funny math did they do in March?
They use words.
At least, I was gonna say, at least you use Excel.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin's predecessor used Word document to add up numbers in budget spreadsheets, and it was maddening.
So no, it was. We come a long way.
You have, Kevin.
I know. Upcoming tournaments, we have 17 coming up, and I think Jeff, how many is that? 6 new?
Yeah, there's 6 new ones.
New ones coming up in that time period. And just remember, we are in the middle of a master plan for the golf course, and in this month we should be getting the recommendation from the consultant on potentially a new location for the clubhouse. If you remember, we were redoing the designs for the clubhouse. The square footage cost got very expensive. That we don't have the greatest parking situation, so it made us all stop. Well, we got to really rehab a building at that cost, or was it cheaper to take it down and build a new one? If it was, is that the right place? And so that is what we are trying to evaluate right now. And boy, Mayor, I told you, I bet, give me 30 minutes. I'm going to be tough here, but let me, I'm going to keep.
4 left.
I know. good thing, fully staffed in maintenance, knock on wood, the 6 new tournaments, Parks Division. These are where you get some great pictures, right? Who doesn't love the great parks? I had to pick 4 things. Chuck has a cajillion things they are proud of and do, but you'll see some pictures of this impactful court resurfacing, the animals that we installed on the 31st Street Bridge out by the animal shelter. This is an event that we had installing that art piece, the little boy fishing, and the Silverstone Park Playground. It's been a while since we've had as much traction on social media for a new playground as we have had that one. But we should have had before pictures, and you see that after how it really pops. And that is contracted out. They're doing a great job. Here's the staff installing the stuff that I don't know what he thinks. I don't know if is that a real dog down there? That Donald? I don't know. And
What is that called, Kevin?
what is what called?
Called the pedestrian bridge.
Pets. We just installed the pets. If you say so, Brett, I believe you. I'm trying to get to my presentation, man. What do you? So, no, you're good. So this is the playground across of Waters Dairy, right near the fire station. So it was a no-brainer. Let's make it a fire station theme. And kids are a lot of times out there. I have seen sometimes we're worst enemies. People are parking in the grass and stuff now. So we need to get more great playgrounds, kind of distribute it right out so they don't necessarily think they have to come there. So, but that's been a win. Things coming up. The new trail, lots that fell down at Crampaugh Soccer Field's coming up. Woodbridge, Councilmember Pro Tem Walker's out, but she would be interested in that one. And probably the big ones we have this across the city is still the damage from the tornado. We have not been able to get repaired and placed through either FEMA or TML. I know Kathy, we were on a call this week, and so she's going to spearhead a little meeting, try to understand what everybody's frustration is, and I think help get that going. So this is Pruitt Park on the left. This is the aerial, and essentially all we had is just kind of how the trail will lay out there. It'll be great for that neighborhood. The downside to it there is there's no sidewalk system there, so they will have to walk the road, but it's not like it's the heaviest used area. So, but they can at least have a safe place to go walk. Here is the cover that when the storm came through, that's all been picked up. It's still blocked off because there's no rails, anything. So that is still one of the big items that's left to be taken care of. Here's another win. Remember, we belong to the Texas Recreation and Park Society, which then, go all the way up to the national, but we have our central region, and David Cobb, which is our licensed irrigator, for years and years won it, the regional, and then would go to state. And he can take anybody that doesn't do that, and they win. And I will tell you how funny it is. You have other cities, Round Rock and other ones in our region. They actually videotape them, trying to figure out how they always win, and they still can't beat them. I don't know. So it is very interesting how it goes. So proud of these two guys. That's not what they do for a living with us. And then speed bump concern, just a few positions, those that are the weekend still, the late night, still struggling with that in the ball field side, and then with all the damage from the tornado. Real quick, places and spaces, just so you know, that is going. We talked about that at Crossroads. That should be finished late spring. Silverstone Park will come to the next council. We just put the playground in, and now we'll improve the trail that's inside the park. New playground at Lions Park. I have seen some of the drawings of what they intend on out there. It'll be very nice. Hopefully, we start putting these in. Like I said, it'll help distribute the crowds. Cokewood Park, that one is coming late spring, early summers. And then, of course, Miller Springs Trail overlook, replacing the accessible walkway and the what do you call that? I guess just the overlook. Yeah, the boardwalk and the overlook. That is up in the Fort Worth office under review. And they were actually on site, was it this week or last week, Chuck? This week. I don't know. Oh, did I tell you? Oh, man, I'm losing it. So they were down for their annual inspection, but also people that are reviewing our plans were also on site. So I think they were just wanting to just to look at everything. And then Jones Park, that is as part of the Place and Spaces, that'll get a splash pad, new playground, new restroom, new trail system. And so that one's coming. Ferguson Park Playground, Chuck met with the company this week, and they are gonna put together several options, and then we'll be meeting with residents, trying to narrow down what they like and all the different options. And Waterford Playground, that one is coming probably in the summer of next year. And then the big one, of course, Southwest Community Park. The park's down at the bottom. I don't think it'll, that only shows, this is the park, but the dog park actually is over here. It's just not showing. And then you see the trail system, the connectivity. We actually are meeting next week to the total package is more than our budget. So we will start trying to prioritize what's going to go in first. And so that's what we'll be doing and trying to figure out. But that is that's coming along. And then just know that these will be coming your way. The golf course master plan will finish March next year. It'll go to the Parks Board, and then it'll come here. Same thing with the other plans that you see down there. These are dates that we anticipate them being completed, not just remember they still have to go to the Parks Board, or we'll take them to the Parks Board and then they'll come here. So I think, see if I could get that in a few minutes back from Natalie, I'll be fine. So, any questions? I'd have to answer it. Hate to have to go so fast because we could spend all afternoon talking about parks. Golf, neighbor. Yeah. Thank y'all again.
Are you sure that's Pythagoras?
Yes, that's what I saw on the deal.
Really?
I know. I had a look and I said, what all did he do besides he's a mathematician and of course he's a Greek philosopher.
Yep.
So that's I don't know. That's all I know is I don't claim that I knew somebody would ask me that question. That's why I had to Google it.
Council, anything for Kevin or anybody else in the park? Apologize for rushing you, but that's, thank you for the great presentation.
You're welcome.
There's a lot.
There is a lot.
We say it with every department. There's
It is.
so much.
It is. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great city. It's a great, the whole organization. It's a well-oiled machine. It's great.
Kevin, the parade was wonderful. All your people were just spectacular.
I don't know. I'm glad I took my career path and not his and your. He's probably the same thing. Everybody's built differently. I love what we do. I love it. That's right. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Should have said that.
All right. Very good. We actually got through all of our presentations this week. And we'll now move into executive session. Currently, it is 6 minutes after 4. And we will discuss the employment duties and work plan of the city manager. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551074, council will meet in executive session to discuss the employment and duties of the city manager. No final action will be taken. So we'll now adjourn the workshop. Good to see you.
See you, sir.
And convene the meeting